Hello friends, how are you? Welcome to your own channel Midu Study. I am your friend Ashutosh from IIM Indore, and friends, you all know Midu Study is our own channel in which we discuss various management topics and subjects in a very simple manner. Friends, on our channel we have various modules which are marketing, strategy, operations, OB and HRM, and basis our subscribers feedback we keep on developing the content. Many of our subscribers were saying that they want the strategic management SM content to be completed because it is very important, so we are developing the content. And let me tell you, this is the last topic, which is evaluation control, that is left. Before that we have discussed in detail about how to make strategy. You can find it in our playlist in strategy formulation. Then we did strategy implementation, 6 different videos, 3 videos on organizing and structure, 3 videos on staffing and directing. Today we move to the next, which is evaluation and control. You made strategy, formulated it, implemented it. Now time to time you need to evaluate it and have control measures in place. That is the last part, and this is again important, so we will cover it in 4 different videos. So total we will have 32 videos in this strategic management playlist. Let us start today's video and understand what is the process of evaluation and control. First of all, in evaluation and control we need to determine what to measure. Step 1, what to measure. Step 2, establish the predetermined standards. What are the standards? That is step 2. Third, you measure the performance. Fourth, there can be 2 things, that performance can match the standard, so that is why this is a decision box. If it matches yes, then you stop over there. If no, then you take corrective action and again you measure. Now let me explain you from a very simple example. For example, you are a teacher, right? You have a class of students. So for you, what to measure? You need to measure the performance of your students. What are the standards? Standards are you set a standard that these many number of students should get more than 70% marks. A standard you have established. Now to measure the performance, you take half yearly exam, right? Now there will be 2 cases. Students who match the standard of this, you stop. They are doing well, okay. Now there are, for example, out of 45 students you found who are less than 70%. You need to take corrective action. Maybe you need to focus them more. Maybe you need to take extra classes, remedial classes for them. You take sometime remedial class, then you take a test again. Measure the performance again. Now do they meet the standard? Yes, then stop. Otherwise further take some action. This is the process of evaluation and control. Now measuring performance. Performance as a term means end result of activity. In this case, what was the end result? Marks was the end result. You are preparing for a competitive exam. You get selected, that is the end result. You are preparing for a match, your team wins the match, that is the end result. One of the obstacles of effective control is the difficulty in developing appropriate measure of important activities and outputs. So sometimes it becomes very subjective, right? There can be many obstacles. You studied, maybe on the final day of exam, some health issue occurred and you could not perform well. That does not mean that your performance is not good, but by this definition of end result of activity, it will say that your performance is not good. So this is what performance is all about. Now what are the appropriate measures? Steering control. So you need to measure the variables which influence the future profitability. Let us give example. Cost per available seat mile in case of airlines. Now airline has fixed number of seats 180 which it has to sell. It cannot keep a very high price, because if competition is keeping the price low, no one will buy. There can be a second case. What can be the second case? Second case can be that you kept a very low price, so you lost on the margin which you were there. So airline need to calculate seat per seat cost basis the miles that it will fly and do the control measures. Second, inventory turnover ratio. In case of retail, what kind of turnover you are planning? For that, what kind of inventory you can hold? See, you need to hold inventory because you cannot let a customer go. You cannot hold very much inventory because there will be inventory costs associated with it. Then customer satisfaction. Customer is king, so anything and everything for customer satisfaction is always organization's priority. There can be types of controls and 3 types of control depending upon where you are applying. When you are controlling the output, that is known as output control. So you specify what is to be accomplished by focusing on the end result through the objectives. That, my dear friends, is known as output control. Second is behavior control. You specify how something is done through policies, rules, standard operating procedures and orders from the supervisors. Standard operating procedure basically, my dear friends, is SOP. For everything, define a process. Being followed, being not followed, that is another thing, but SOP should always be there. Input control, it always emphasizes the resources. So from entering point, what all you are emphasizing, that is known as your input control. Government has two types of control measures for quality standards. One is the ISO 9000 series. What does 9000 series talk about? It is the way of objectively documenting a company's high level of quality operations. So everyone will ask, is your product ISO standard? When it says ISO standard, means does it matches or does it qualifies the standards what the government has asked. Second is 14000 series. Establish how to document the company's impact on the environment. Earlier only quality was focused, but then people realized that we should not sacrifice the environment, because in the large run we need this proper environment na. If you are harming environment, what will future generations get? We need to take care of natural resources. So nowadays company focus on using more and more eco-friendly materials. Company focus, how can we reduce our carbon footprint? All that is there. That, my dear friends, is ISO 14000 series is all about. Very important concept is activity based costing, which is also known as ABC. What is activity based costing? Allocate the indirect and direct cost to individual product line based on value added activities going to the product. So for a product, what are the things? For example, in home you are cooking a vegetable. Direct cost will be the vegetable cost that you incurred or the additional ghee and all which you are using. But there are indirect costs also na. There is some gas which is being used, so fuel cost. If you are cooking on your own, some of your time is there, what is the time cost? So indirect. Accountant, that is why should charge cost more accurately. It allocates the overhead more precisely, because there are 5 activities A, B, C, D, E. Per activity you are seeing what are the costs, and that is why it is known as activity based costing. Next important term, my dear friends, is enterprise risk management, which is known as ERM. It is a corporate-wide integrated process for managing uncertainties that could negatively or positively influence the achievement of objectives. So, how impact can be there? It can be either positive, it can be either negative. Company should be very careful whenever you are doing anything. See, that is why it is said in a personal life also, no, business is risky, but you can get unlimited income from business only. In case you are a salaried person, you are secure. On month end you will get this much amount. In case of business, there can be highs, there can be lows. So that is why ERM is important for any enterprise. How do you risk the various rates? Rate the various risks, sorry. So there can be various risks. First, you need to identify the risk. You can identify using the scenario analysis, brainstorming, ask various people involved, come let us sit in a particular room and find out. Then you rank those risks. Now for ranking also there can be 2 parameters. How much impact can it have, and what is the likelihood, right? So sorry, you need to take a mix and match. Sometimes it is there that likelihood is very less. So the risk of something like COVID happening, no one has thought, likelihood was less, but the impact was too high, right? So you need to see all this and you need to rank and you take a mix and match of the impact and likelihood. Then you measure the risk using some agreed upon standard. That is known as enterprise risk management. This is all, my dear friends, from today's video, in which we discussed what evaluation and control is all about. First of all, we started with what evaluation process is and what control process is, which is the first starting topic which we need to understand. Let us once go back to the flow chart and see what evaluation and control was and what was the process. So like I told, evaluation and control means you determine what to measure. There are some standards, you measure the performance. There can be 2 things. It can match the performance can match the standards. If yes, okay. If no, take corrective actions. This is what evaluation control process is. After understanding the evaluation control process, how you can measure, what are various control measures, what is activity based costing, what is enterprise risk management, within enterprise risk management, then what are the various steps which are there to manage risks, in which how to rate the risk is there, right? This is what we discussed in today's video, and we laid a foundation of evaluation and control to understand the risk. In next video, we will further continue this topic and tell you what different parameters can be there and what different scenarios can be there. If you have any confusion in today's video, write on meedu.study@gmail.com or in the comment section. And you are liking, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you. Take care.